Hi everyone, today we're going to talk a little bit about two-point perspective, and we've already been looking at one-point perspective where we're thinking about the object that we're looking at as being directly facing us. So let's have a look at the difference between one-point perspective and two-point perspective. I'm just going to make a horizon line. And our one-point perspective, we're looking at the leading plane of the object. Okay, and so we're looking at it directly front on. Okay, in two-point perspective, we're really looking at the corner of the object. We're not looking at it dead front on. So one point perspective, two-point perspective. Let's think about, okay, we're going to make a vanishing point there. So one-point perspective, we would, as you remember, we would join the corners, go from corner to corner to that vanishing point on the horizon line. Okay, and then we would decide how wide our box is going to be. I'm not going to call it a cube because we're not really measuring yet. We're just making sort of fantasy three-dimensional objects and learning how to understand perspective. Okay, so there you have your leading plane and your one-point perspective box. When we're thinking about two-point perspective, we have two vanishing points. So let's just make 2 points on the horizon. And we're going to join those to the bottom of our corner. And we're going to join them to the top of our corner as well. And in this way we're going to get an accurate idea of how this box would recede into the distance. So I'm going to make my left side plane on that side there, and I'm just going to make this one here. So now we can see how the top of this box would retreat into the distance by connecting its side there to the left vanishing point and its opposite side to the right vanishing point. Okay, so there we have one-point perspective and two-point perspective, which is, going to really help you with all of the drawings that you're going to be doing. Right, so just as with one-point perspective, there is a way to draw where the box actually sits is altered by where it sits above, below, or straddling the horizon line. So let's look at a box below, a corner of the box straddling the horizon, and one up in the air. Okay, and I'm going to put our vanishing points way out to the very edges of the paper. And the reason I'm doing that is because normally the picture plane contains about a 60-degree angle of view, just as a general rough rule. Whereas the vanishing points normally are 90 degrees outside of the picture plane. So if you wanted to extend and add paper to the edges of your drawing, then you could do that to find your, or to push your vanishing points further out. But we're actually just forcing our vanishing points into the picture plane, which is slightly inaccurate, and it's going to actually make the boxes a little bit more distorted. But for our purposes of coming to terms with how to draw in perspective, we're going to use these anyway. When you're actually doing your own drawings, if you prefer to add some paper right at the edges and give yourself this 90-degree angle out there, then I'm really happy for you to do that. But I'm just, for the ease of showing you how this works, I'm going to just use these vanishing points in here, and you'll see that the boxes are slightly distorted. Okay, so you see that it's actually pulling down, and your eye probably wouldn't see it like that, but it's giving a more exaggerated version of how that box would actually look. And then if we wanted to see the box as if it was invisible, or transparent rather, not invisible, we would take the bottom of the opposite corner and draw our line through to the vanishing point, and the same on this side. Okay, and so there we can see that our bottom of our box internally is there. The top of our box is retreating backwards like this. And I'm just going to use this pencil just to reinforce it a little bit so we can really see what the outside edges are. Okay, so our box is starting to take form. And you guys are going to be probably using metal rulers, but I'm just so that you can see a little better what I'm doing, I'm using this see-through one. Okay, so that would be our box below the horizon. Then we can do the same thing with a box straddling the horizon. I'm going to use the same vanishing points for this demo. And we'll take the top and bottom and we'll attach it, we'll connect it to that horizon line. Vanishing point on the horizon line. This one. And you will notice that and I'm just choosing how big I'm going to make this box here. It's not. All right, so you'll notice that as with the 1 point perspective, when something is straddling the horizon line, you probably won't see the top or the bottom of that box. But what I'm going to do is, again, make it see-through so that you can kind of gauge what's going on, and we go from the opposite edge to the opposite vanishing point, and that will be the bottom that you can actually see of the box, that you can't see, but it's the internal part of the box. And then we could do the same thing on the inside. Okay, and so here we have those internal parts of the box. But we would not be able to see that top and bottom unless we were looking through a transparent box. So I'm just going to do this just so it makes it a little more clear. Okay. So, top and bottom of our box are behind our actual field of view. Okay, and so just to continue with that, we'll use the same. Let's look above the horizon, at an object above the horizon, and we'll attach that one, connect it up to the 2 vanishing points, and just have a look at how that actually ends up. We're starting to get rather a lot of lines on here, but it's okay. Okay, so I'm going to say that this side is longer, this side to there. So we have our looking up underneath our box, above the horizon. So I'm going to join my opposite corner to the opposite vanishing point, and my opposite corner here, which actually falls on one of the other lines from the other boxes, but close. So now we can see that this box is, we can see the underneath of it. And I'm just going to reinforce these lines just to give you the full view. But you can see that it's quite exaggerated as far as, you know, what the eye might see. But again, we're keeping our vanishing points inside the picture plane just for this demo. Okay. So there you have your 2-point perspective boxes below the horizon line, straddling the horizon line, and above the horizon line. And these can be used for all sorts of things, for designing. We're not doing the measurements just yet, but this whole this set of rules is really, really useful for creating, designing. Maybe you want to design how your room looks. Maybe you want to design a picture that has all of these. This will be a way for you to actually find how things should look, and you could actually make them into, and you know, use boxes as your form that you are creating, and then you can round out. Say if it's something round, or you can round out from there. But you've got your perspective lines, which will give you the shape and distance back, and how these lines are diminishing. So there we have it, and you will be doing an exercise very similar to this very soon.